Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's a little part of me that's thinking like, is there even a point to making this video for me to just hop on the bandwagon and just praise this game as to how amazing it is? There's a bunch of different reviews on Final Fantasy VII, and I'm kind of hopping on this bandwagon a little bit late, but this is my Final Fantasy journey, so I had to make a video on this game. And this quick little video is just highlighting some of the things that I absolutely loved about this game, some of the things I didn't expect to like about this game, and some things that maybe I didn't like about this game, question mark. So remember everyone, I held myself back from playing this game because I wanted to play the original first. And I already mentioned that in my last video where I talked about the original game, but it is so freaking worth playing the original game before playing the remake. I'm sure you can have a great time simply playing the remake, Crisis Core, and all the other spin-offs that are going to come from this game, but there's just something about being in the know as to everything that's going to happen, has happened, and how they're going to recreate this in these beautiful graphics. I've been trying to get my brother to play the original because him and I have this crazy hype train for the Kingdom Hearts series, and I think this trilogy of games for the Final Fantasy VII Remake can be just as hype and as exciting. While with Kingdom Hearts, it's exciting because you don't know what's gonna happen. With the remake, you already know what's gonna happen, but you don't know what they're gonna change and shift, as they've already changed things in Rebirth, which I haven't even touched. But is it worth playing the original before playing the yes, 1,000 times yes. It might not be easy to trug along through the original, especially if you've already played the remake, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it because for me it's just like this beautiful little gift to the world that I get to be excited for whenever new content comes out in the game, new trailers, new anything. I am just excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake content. And that is hugely because I played the original first. Yes, I am a massive Final Fantasy fan, of course, that plays a role in all of this, but I'm just saying, play the original first because for me, it was a game changer knowing everything that's gonna happen. So let's just jump right into the video. Let's start off with the spoiler-free section first. The game looks beautiful. The music is even in some ways better than the original, and they really do the thing. They take all these characters that you saw in like these polygon forms and they bring them to life. Now I do think something that plays a huge role into this game and these characters being so well created is because we've already seen different variations of these characters in multiple different ways, not just from the polygons. Like, for say, if they were to ever remake Final Fantasy VI or one of the pixelated games, there's only one version of Terra from Final Fantasy VI. Of course, then you have the Dissida version, but what I'm saying is it's really, you only have those two versions to compare that Terra to. While with Cloud, you have the original Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, you have the Cloud from the movie, you have the Cloud from Kingdom Hearts, you have the Cloud from Dissida, you have the Cloud from Crisis Core. So like, yes, we're finally seeing these characters alive, but I think a huge reason why they're so well crafted is because they've already been recreated so many times in the past. So let's address the elephant in the room. How do I feel about the gameplay? Because obviously the original was a classic turn-based game where they introduced the ATB gauge to make it a little bit faster, while this one's a straight up action RPG. Dodging, there's rolling. Honestly, a dream that I would have had for the Final Fantasy games a while back, because I loved Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts is an action RPG, and my thought was, take any RPG, turn it into an action RPG, and it is perfection. I think that they did a great job with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I personally did love the action. I think that the moves are super cool. I think it feels really good to use Cloud and Tifa and Barret and Aerith, and especially Yuffie in Intermission. But I do also feel like the arenas where you fight were small. And again, kind of comparing it to the Tales games, like this isn't anything new, right? But I do think there is a certain sense of this game feeling really small and linear. I mean, it is linear. It's going down corridors, only going against 2 to 3 mobs of enemies before the next story exposition. The little bit of fighting that I got to do was super fun, even though it felt kind of small. Now, before everybody starts getting all crazy and attacking me and for talking badly about this amazing game, let me just say this right now. I think a lot of this feeling of me of just feeling like you're in a corridor and then like it's small and like it's very linear, I feel like that's gonna get demolished in Rebirth. From what I've seen of Rebirth, I started playing, I was halfway through this game when Rebirth came out. So it really just fueled me to want to beat this game as soon as I could to now get to this more open world feeling Final Fantasy VII experience. I think Final Fantasy VII Part 1 is amazing. I really loved it. The visuals were amazing. The combat was super fun. There's something also about the level ups that it somehow felt small yet very intricate at the same time. Like, it was really cool that I could like level up and customize my weapons, and I love that there was a separate gauge of experience for your weapon level and then actually getting points to level up a certain weapon, and then on top of that you get experience for your character. The more different things that I can level up, the more good I feel as an RPG game. Give me lots of level ups and different things to be able to customize with my level ups. I love that. But I'm telling you, even though I had all these different things leveling up, in a way, in the materia is a whole nother thing leveled up too. So it was great. I loved it for what it was, but I would be lying if I didn't acknowledge the fact that it did feel small in a way. And I didn't really have this complaint with Crisis Core, and I think the only reason why I'm really having this complaint is because I've seen what Rebirth is, and I know what's coming my way. So playing Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 feels just tinier. I thought it was super cool that I could unlock new moves by using certain weapons for each character, and after I reached a certain proficiency of using that move, I get to permanently learn that move on said character. That's amazing. But I learned the moves way too quick, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because there isn't a lot of fighting in this game, at least on your first run, and especially if you're playing it on easy. Another little issue that I want to add on there, the game was too easy. The game was too easy, and it does kind of suck that you have to beat it once to unlock hard mode. But to be even more fair, when playing in hard mode, which I've tried now, it's way too hard. You do need to have played the game once before playing on hard mode. It would be cool if they maybe like a Kingdom Hearts thing, they had like a big beginner, intermediate, hard, or hard proud mode, and have critical mode be unlocked after beating the game. Maybe, and have that be this version of the hard mode. But I felt like easy and standard mode were too easy at times. Standard mode could get a little difficult, but I never really felt myself struggling too much. Especially once you learned the secret to each boss, you're like, okay, this isn't too bad. I do want to give props to hard mode though, because it almost feels like unlocking a completely separate game once you beat the game. While the first time around, I think it's a really beautiful experience to just enjoy the story, enjoy the little bits of pieces of level up and unlocking all the different weapons and getting stronger here and there, and like it's really satisfying feeling, even though I never really felt like I needed it because the game wasn't hard enough. In hard mode is when it all kind of comes together, and it's great going through it again in hard mode and New Game Plus, because now I get to actually enjoy and master all these abilities that I learned in my first playthrough, while also challenging me and not just having to know what are the quirks to each boss, but having skill to do said things. Almost the thing with the skill and the quirks with each boss, I almost felt like I was playing a Dark Souls game and I was having to do a lot of research on how do I beat each boss because it was that hard for me. But I enjoyed it. I wish there would have been somewhere in between hard mode and medium difficulty, but I still love what I got here because I was really excited once I beat the game to instantly start it on hard mode and play through it like that. Now the only issue was I was pretty burnt out from Final Fantasy, which leads me to another thing. Even though in a way, you go into it thinking, okay, how are they gonna, fit this first little section of Midgar that is only a couple of hours long in the original game into a full-fledged game? I was so surprised that by the time I finished my full playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, it was a solid 30 to 40 hour experience, which was great. And it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like it was that long because I was having a great time playing the game, which leads me to my next point. The side quests and a lot of the extra parts to this game. Every time I was coming into a section where I was like, it was gonna come to a pause and I was gonna kind of like pause from the story and it was time to do some side quests, I was like, ugh, I don't want to do this. I want to keep playing the game. I want to beat the game. I want to get to Rebirth. Like, I was still having a good time with the game. I was trying not to rush it. But at the same time, whenever I had these side quests, I was like, I don't really know if I'm in the mood to do them. There were times that I was, but there were times I was like, I kind of just want to keep progressing with the story. Every time I felt this and I started these side quests, they all were good. They all were enjoyable. They all distracted me enough to not make me feel like I was necessarily wasting my time or doing a side quest. Each time I went into a side quest being like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, I started doing all of the side quests and I did all of them in one go because they were fun and it just felt like more of the game. Nailed it with the side quests in this game. They don't even feel like side quests. The characters are absolutely beautiful. I love their portrayals. It's funny because yes, Cloud in this game is more of an a-hole, and I remember at the beginning of Final Fantasy VII in the original, he is more of an a-hole, and as the game goes on, he kind of loosens up. And in this game, pretty much for the entirety, I'm like, ugh, you're so annoying. I'm personally more of a Zack fan, but my boy Cloud looks really cool in this game, and they really do him justice. Barrett's really cool. The way that they brought Barrett to life in this game is awesome. Playing as Barrett was really I enjoyed playing as Barrett. I didn't have a bad time playing as any character because I got myself into that mood of like, no, I'm playing as Barrett. And I tried getting myself into that feeling that I think the creators of the game were trying to make me feel like this dude was just a giant machine gun for a hand. Big, tanky, sluggish character. I still had fun with it. I still had fun with him. But then I take someone like Cloud. I'm zooming, I'm slashing, I'm blocking and dodging, and like I have way more fun using Cloud than Barrett. But Barrett's still an enjoyable experience. Tifa. I love the way that they made Tifa in this game. Tifa and Aerith both simping for Cloud is fun. And let's not even talk about Jessie. We're not even going there yet. Tifa was super fun to play. I think Tifa was my favorite character to play as. Like straight up, she's just the way that you punch. You know, it really makes me feel like this is how, if you were to remake a Final Fantasy, you know, 1 through any of the 1 through 6 and play as a monk, this is what it would feel like. I think that they nailed it. I also enjoyed Aerith. I think the tier list would go Tifa, Cloud, Aerith, Barrett. I did enjoy Aerith. It's really fun using magic with her. I could use magic with everyone else. Her basic attack was alright. Her charged attack was pretty cool. She does unlock some pretty cool moves with her weapons, but I think I still had more fun with some of the faster paced characters like Cloud and Tifa. They also nailed Aerith as a character, being the really sweet, likable character that is just hard to not get, like, it's just hard not to like her. And same with Tifa, honestly. They're different characters, but you know, Aerith is still like the really sweet one, while Tifa's is also sweeter and cuter than I thought they were gonna make her, but they still give her this extra little, you know what I'm saying, like baddie kind of vibe. Let's talk for a second about Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge. I love what they did with them. I thought that in the original game, you don't have them there long enough, and they almost felt like main characters. And you know, it's the beginning of the journey, and these 3 characters felt pretty important, and then you suddenly stuff happens and then you don't really see them for the rest of the game. So I love that in this one, you really get a vibe as to who Wedge is, Jessie. Here's how I feel about Jessie. Between Aerith, Tifa, and Jessie, I will 1,000 times overtake Jessie. This is all very subjective. I'm sure there's some people who think she's too much. I personally loved Jessie. Wedge, I also think that they nailed. Them having the voice actor for Badger from Breaking Bad, I think it suits him so well, and he's such a great character. I can't believe I'm blanking on
Biggs. I'm referring to Biggs.
The guy with the bandana is so cool. Wedge is silly, Jessie's cute and cool, and then you have him who's just cool, the cool, likable best friend. Like I would love to just bro out with that guy, you know what I mean? I think they nailed it, and I'm really glad that they actually took the time to really expand more of these characters and dive a little bit more into each of their stories. Freaking love it. So overall, what are my thoughts and feelings about this game? I freaking loved it. I think it's an amazing game. While yes, I already kind of mentioned some of its shortcomings, again, just the materia system is amazing. The being able to level up all my different weapons are amazing. All the side quests are amazing. The story's amazing. Like the characters, like even though I mentioned some of the small things that I wasn't maybe the biggest fan of, but the overall game is great. It's great. So much so that yes, this is the game that I'm planning on platinuming. I'm just a little bit burnt out from it right now. Okay, so let's get a little bit into the spoilers section and just hands off, talk about whatever the heck we want to talk, okay? How do I feel about the changes that they made from this game to the original? So I'm specifically talking about the specters, right? Those little ghostly figures. I freaking love it, dude. I freaking love it. Like at the very end of Remake, when they basically kill Barrett off, you're kind of like, what, Barrett's dead? And then you find out like the little specters like revive him, and all those little moments that make you think like, wait, these little dudes are like changing history or correcting history or making sure that history goes according to plan. That's crazy. Why would you do that? Like why, what, you know what I mean? Like it's so cool that they included these specters, because they leave it up for us, the fans, to know that there's a potential for there being a different story coming from this compared to the original Final Fantasy VII, and that is so great. The specters play a huge role in certain key scenes, and at first I remember being really confused by these little guys, and then at the very end when you find out, you know, how big of a deal these specters actually are in the final boss fight versus the three specters, the three different versions or forms of I guess they're supposed to be Cloud, Tifa, and Barret, is really cool. Those are supposed to be like the original past selves of Cloud, Tifa, and Barret fighting against this version of them, trying to ensure that the original timeline continues. But I guess at the end of this game, they've now broken that timeline, and now some other stuff's going on. I don't even get me started on how excited I am to have seen Zack come back. Like at the very end, I think it's at the end of what, Intermission, I don't know. But that secret cutscene with them showing Zack being able to see the specters and then eventually coming back looking for Aerith, like, dude, that part was so hype. Especially now that I'm like such a big Crisis Core fan, like the potentiality and the possibility of your boy Zack being back is absolutely amazing. And I know that he does, and that he plays a role in Rebirth, and I haven't played Rebirth, and that's gonna be so freaking cool. I'm just saying, I think they freaking killed it. Like, they freaking killed it with this remake, and adding in those specters and being able to change up the story while keeping the original story, like have it be its own thing and intact, having this remake be a reimagining of the story while keeping it really tight to the original is perfect. What did I think of Intermission? It goes without saying that I freaking loved it. I mentioned this in the original Final Fantasy VII review as to how I really liked Yuffie as a character, and I wish that she would have had more importance and that she wasn't like an optional side character. But no, I love that really Yuffie got her own spotlight with Intermission. I even love that the way that we're gonna get into the spoilers later. I think that the new character that they add, what's his face, is really cool. I'm going into it, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna like this guy, and by the end they end up doing some classic sibling cheesy oh, my sister type deal, oh, Yuffie reminds me of my little sister type stuff. But I still think it works really well because the character is really cool and it's Final Fantasy. But I do have to mention that it is a little cheesy and it is a little like been there, done that, seen that. But it's great. It's great. It's not too long. It took me like 5-ish, 7-ish hours to complete, which is all right. And there's a lot of little things that you can do to get really lost into that game. And again, you can play through it again on hard. I think it's super fun to use Yuffie as a character. I think I put her at the top of my list of characters to use, above, you know, Cloud and Tifa even. I like fast-paced characters, and she's really fast. Her ninja shuriken boomerang thing, her control of all the magic with it, and being able to do all those combos, and I just loved playing as Yuffie. It was so freaking cool. As for the story itself, again, I think it was great. I think it was great. And okay, now we're getting into the spoiler section. I think it's really cool that the main bad guys from this game are the main bad guys from Dirge of Cerberus, which Yuffie is also in. I really hope that they do more with that and Vincent Valentine. Maybe Vincent Valentine will get his own episode. If we get our own game and they try to remake Dirge of Cerberus, I think they would be amazing. But for now, it'll do with being able to see these bad guys from Dirge of Cerberus. Them killing off this what's his face. I wish they wouldn't have, because he was really cool. I didn't necessarily feel it so much either when they offed him, but in the scene that they show when he dies, they did a great job with it. Like, I also didn't feel like I was with him long enough to really feel it that much, but they did a great job with his death scene that it does make you feel it. Like, I felt it. I was like, oh wait, that's actually rough, bro. And you especially feel for Yuffie, and man, it's also just a great game. Or a great, you know, DLC separate portion of the game. Absolutely loved Intermission. Okay, moving on to Dissida. Let's take a little bit to talk about Dissida and do with the, you know, in the original Final Fantasy VII series that I have going on. Each time I beat a Final Fantasy game, I open up a little figurine and I talk about what it's like to play as said character in the original Final Fantasy Dissida on the PSP, which I did again, and I just want to say it was so fun coming back to this. It was interesting because I wasn't really in the mood to go back and play Dissida, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been doing that. I guess I should continue. I should hop on the old PSP and play through Cloud's story. I wasn't really feeling it too much, but the moment I started playing it, I instantly got into it, and like I 100% his chapter and everything, and it's super fun, dude. It's super fun. So how was it playing through Cloud's story in the original PSP Dissida? It was good. I do feel like maybe with some of the other stories, you know, I've played 1 through 6 and with all those characters in the original Dissida, and I might have enjoyed some of the other ones a little bit more. I think something that they do with Cloud and Dissida and his story is they really play on the whole Sephiroth talking about how Cloud is just a puppet. A big thing for Cloud is he feels like he needs to really find a reason why he's fighting. You know, he's like, why am I doing this? Which I think connects pretty well to the main story, with Cloud's memories being all scrambled and not really knowing what he's doing, and in a way like Cloud being controlled and being brought to Sephiroth in the original. So it works. Like I see the thought process, and I think it's good. Either way, it's great to see Sephiroth and Cloud in any kind of cutscene in any game. It's so cool. But I just feel like maybe compared to some of the other stories, I enjoy them a little bit more. Using Cloud as a character, he's difficult to use because he's a lot slower than some of the other characters that I prefer. There's been other characters who are slow that I've used before. I've just found it to be like, I play better with faster characters like Onion Knight. I eventually got the hang of Cloud, and he's still so cool. So that does it for the Dissida review. Still a really fun game. Still a really fun chapter. I still have all my other collection of these little figurines of Final Fantasies 1 through 6. Wow, yeah, this looks pretty sick. I shouldn't be surprised because the quality of all of these so far have been great. They always come kind of disassembled. It's such a tiny figurine, and it's so simple in concept, but he looks sick, dude. Bro looks absolutely sick. The Buster Sword looks amazing. He just looks awesome. I'm so happy that I'm like collecting these little figurines, and I'm keeping this going. So that pretty much does it for my Final Fantasy VII Remake review. It's been a couple months since I've uploaded on this channel, and crazy thing, this is the first video that I'm going to be uploading, you know, with me coming back. But I'm glad that I finally did it. And I've been gaming. I've been doing a lot of gaming, so I have a lot of actually reviews to catch up on. But for now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. And yeah, hope to see you guys next time. Peace.